Alright, this is the revision video for the first algebra exam. Since this worked out last time, I thought I'd do another one. Alright, so first one says, circle your answer for the following multiple choice questions shown for working on the line below. So first question is, if a equals 3, then 7 plus a is which answer? So first thing we need to know is we are doing a substitution here. So we know that 7 plus a is the question. And for a, we are going to substitute a equals 3, which means a equals 10. Our answer is B. If b equals 4, then 5x. We know that 5x is the same as 5 times x, which means x we now replace with 4, which means it's 20. The answer is D. If c equals 9, then 3c take 4 is, again, we know between 3 and c there is a multiply. So 3 times c take 4. Then we're going to replace or substitute 9 for c. 3 times 9 take 4. Using BOMDAS, we know that's 27 take 4. 27 take 4 is 23. Answer C. I don't think you're going to get one of these questions in your exam, but if you do, this is how we're going to work it out. Again, it's 2 times what's in the brackets. So it's 2 times 4d plus 1. We know in the bracket that between 4 and d there is a multiply. So it's going to be 4 times d plus 1. Now if we substitute d equals 2 for there, we got 2 times 4 times 2 plus 1. As always, we got to do the brackets first, so this is going to be 2 times 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1. That's all in brackets. Again, solve that. This is going to be 2 times 8 plus 1 is 9. 2 times 9 is 18. Answer is A. Alright, the maximum temperature at Mount Everest was measured over the course of 3 weeks and arranged in ascending order. Which of the following represents the recorded temperatures? Alright, ascending order means smallest to largest. So, with A, we know that -1 is lower than 0, so it can't be A. We know that as our negatives get closer to 0, we are increasing. So this one, B, could be our right answer, but I'm going to check the others. Again, we've got a -7, 6, -5, so that can't be right. Again, we've got -1, +6, -5, so this can't be right. So in ascending order, it is B for our answer. Next question says, identify the number sentence that matches the following number line problem. So we start at -6 and we're jumping over 1, 2, 3, 4 spots to get to -2. Remembering that if zeros are a halfway point between positive and negative numbers, if we are moving that way, we are moving towards the positives, we are adding on. If we are moving this way, we are taking away. So since we're moving to the right 4 spaces, we are going to be adding 4. So the number sentence we need is -6 plus 4. So B is our answer. Alright, question 2. Identify the following from the expressions to the right. How many terms are there? A term is each part of our expression, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms. What are the coefficients? Coefficients are the numbers in front, so 3, -7, -4. So we've got 3 coefficients that are in front of our variables. What are the variables or pronumerals? Again, letters. So we've got x squared, y, and b. And your constants are numbers by itself. Remember, we got to take the symbol to the left, so it's +2 or +2 and -9. You don't have to put the +2. If it's a positive, you can just say 2 and -9 and you still get the same answer. Alright, part E says explain why the expression. This is an expression, not an equation. Remember that an equation has to have an equal sign. So, it did not have an equal sign, and therefore can't be an equation. That's all you have to say. So again, equation, there has to be an equal sign. Expression, there won't be an equal sign. Alright, question 3. Use the symbols greater than or less than between the following pairs of integers to make the statement true. So, +2, +6, well we know +6 is bigger, so it's going to be that way. The way I like to think of it is, a crocodile is going to eat the bigger prey. That's how I learned it. So, -3, +1, +1's bigger. +5, -4. We're going to move, we're going to have our open side towards +5. -1, -3. Remember, the closer we get to 0, the bigger our numbers get. So -1 in this case is bigger. +5 and -10, well, there's a positive number, so that's bigger. -6 and -8. -6 is closer to 0 than -8, so it's that way. +16, because it's positive, this is negative. Again, closer to 0, the bigger the number is, so -12 is closer to 0 than -33. Question 4, write the following in descending order, and we've told you from largest to smallest. So, if we start at A, the largest number here is 11, then 4, 0, -2, -7. With B, we've got +7, 0, 1, -9, -23. C, we've got +11, 4, 1, 0, -3, -15. And part D, we've got 19, 8, 6, -2, -5, -43. Alright, evaluate the following, showing you're working on the number line below. Alright, so with this, first we're going to start with the number line. We're going to start at -4. I would put a circle, a dot, on the -4. And then we're going to add 7. Remember, adding numbers, we move this way. Subtracting numbers, we move that way. So we're going to add 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're at -3. So our answer is, +3. We're at +3. So that's our answer. Alright, question 6, double check. We don't need question 7 because we don't learn that in grade 7, so I'm going to put a line through that. Question 6, however, again, substitution. Just like we did on question 1, we're going to substitute 7 for n. So here the question's already written down for me, so I'm going to substitute 7 for n. So it's going to be 7 plus 4. That gives me 11. Here it's going to be 2 times n, because if there's nothing between a number and a variable, in algebra it's always a multiply. In maths it's always a multiply. So it's going to be 2 times 7, which is 14. Again, multiplied there, so it's going to be 4 times n, take 2. We know that n is 7, so 4 times 7, take 2. 4 times 7 is 28, take 2, gives us 26. Remembering from last term, n squared means 7 times 7, so that's 49. Alright, like terms and unlike terms. All you have to work out if the terms below are alike and unlike. If they're like terms, I'm going to give it an L. If they're unlike, I'm going to put a U next to it. So, 3 and 4, they're both numbers, they're like terms. M and 3m, their variables are the same, it's both m and m, so they're like terms. We've got negative 5b and 2b, again, same variable, so like terms. Negative 2xy and 3y, variables are x and y, they are different, they're unlike. We've got 2de and 3d. They both have d, but one of them has a de, so they're not exactly the same, so they're unlike. Remember, with our like terms, they have to be exactly the same. Like f, we've got a squared and a squared, so they're like terms. G, we got variable of u on both, so they're like terms. Again, we've got f squared and f, not exactly the same, so they're unlike. de and de, they're like terms. Negative 5 and 1, yes, one's negative, one's positive, but they are both numbers by themselves, and constants are like terms. Negative 2x and negative 2x, like terms, they're the same. Variables k for both, they're like terms. Alright, next one. Which of the following do not contain like terms? So, if we go through this, x and x, they're like terms. T squared and t, they're not like terms, so I'm going to circle that as my non-like term. I've got mn and mn, so they're like terms. 12 and 8, they're constants, they're numbers by themselves, so they're like terms. Negative 6k and 4k, again, same variable, so they're like terms. So the only one which does not contain like terms is b, 3t and t are not like terms. Alright, next one. We have to arrange the following into groups of like terms. So, the way I would do this, and I recommend you do it in the exam. Alright, so in the exam, if they're like terms, if the question was group like terms, I would get my highlighter or a different color pen, and I would highlight over things that are alike. So I've got an x term and a negative 3x term, they're alike. I've got a 4y term and another 3y term, so they're both y variables. And then my last two are my numbers. So let me just put that in red. And then let's pair up the colors together. So in green, our like terms are 2x and 3x. Then we've got 3y and 4y. and 5 and negative 7. Once you color code it and put it like this, it's really easy to work out what's like and what's not like. Same thing here. I'm going to put my t squared terms in green. In purple, I'm just going to put t terms. And in red, any constants. And then we go off our color coding. Our like terms are t squared and 5t squared, 4t and negative 8t, and negative 3 and 6. Alright, the reason we practice grouping like terms into last questions because then we need to be able to use that to simplify the following expressions by collecting like terms. So doing what we did in our last example, I'm going to just put a box around my two like terms, which are my two variables. I've got 3x plus 5x, I'm going to put them together, and positive 7 and positive 4, they're also like terms, so I'm going to put them in blue. So now if you got 3x plus 5x, you have 8 lots of x, and 7 plus 4 is 11. Again, same thing. For b, group our like terms. I've got a d term here, 4d, and then I've got a d by itself, and then my other two terms are e variables. So let's put those two together. 4d plus d plus 2e plus 7e. As I said to my classes, if you have a variable by itself, we always assume the number in front, the coefficient, is 1. So now we've got 4d plus 1d, well that's 5d altogether, and 2e plus 7e is 9e. Again, C, we're going to collect like terms. I've got m variables, and then I've got my two n variables. And then let's group those colored terms together. So 2m plus 5m plus 4n plus 6n. 2 plus 5 is 7, so there's 7m. 4 plus 6 is 10, so there's 10n. Next one, they've all got b's, but the difference is one's b squared and the others are b's. So let's group in red b squared, and then in blue just the b terms. Let's group them together. We've got 7b squared, take 2b squared, plus 4b, take 5b. This time we are subtracting, so 7 take 5, sorry, 7 take 2 is 5, and our term is b squared. Positive 4 take 5, well that's negative 1, and the term is b. You can also write this as 5b squared take b, that's all. You don't have to put the brackets, I'm just showing you that's another way of writing it. You don't have to put the 1 in the front, it's still the same thing. Again, our like terms, let's put our variables together, and then let's put our constants together. So we've got 4k take 4k, positive 12, positive 6. If you've got 4k and you take away 4k, you're left with 0. And then you've got 12 plus 6 is 18. 0 plus 18 is 18. And our last one, we've got xy terms here, here, and here. I'm going to put them in red. And my only non-xy term is positive 7. So if we group those, 3xy plus xy, take 2xy plus 7, remembering again, and xy term by itself with no number at the front, we assume the coefficient is 1. So 3xy plus 1xy is 4xy. Take away 2xy is 2xy plus 7. Alright, next one. For each of the following, let n be the starting number, then write each as an algebraic expression. So the number, increase the number by 7. So that's going to be n plus 7. We start at n and we add 7 to it. Subtract 5 from the number. So this is going to be n take 5. Divide the number by 6. So n divided by 6, or you can write that as n divided by 6 like that. Multiply the number by 4, then subtract 6. So n times 4 takes 6. Remember, in algebra we like our numbers at the front, so this we can write as 4n takes 6, and we can take the multiplication out. Multiply the number by 3, then divide the result by 11. I'm going to do that over here. So my number n, I'm going to multiply it by 3, and then I'm going to divide that answer by 11. Which again, if we write it without the multiplication and put in our numbers before our variables, we write it as 3n over 11. Add 5 to the number, then multiply the result by 2. So again, n plus 5 multiplied by 2. This again, we can write as put the multiplier by 2 at the front, and we can take the multiply by 5 out. So we can take the multiply symbol out, so it's 2 outside of bracket, n plus 5 close bracket. Subtract 9 from the number, then divide the result by 10. So whatever our number is, we're going to take 9 from it, and then we're going to divide this by 10. Subtract the number from 9, then multiply the result by 8. So this time we're going to start at 9 and we're going to subtract the number, and whatever that equals, we're going to multiply that answer by 8. Which again in algebra we can write as 8 bracket 9 take n close bracket. Question 13. Write an algebraic expression for the number story. So we've broken it up into steps, so let's just write it with each step. Alright, so it says I am the number y. Let's start there. And then we're going to triple me, so 3 times the number, so 3 times y, which equals 3y. Then add 2 to that, so I've got 3y, and I'm going to add 2 to it. Then divide that by 7, so 3y plus 2 divided by 7, which I can also write as 3y plus 2 divided by 7. And then the last one, finally subtract 4 from that. So from this, I'm going to subtract 4, so I've got 3y plus 2 divided by 7, and then whatever that answer is, I'm going to take 4 from it. So our number sentence at the very end should be 3y plus 2 divide 7, take 4. Alright, next one says the maximum temperature and minimum temperature recorded during a week in June on Mount Kosciuszko are shown in the table below. On which day was the lowest minimum temperature? Keyword is lowest and minimum. So if we go to our minimum row, we want to find the lowest number here, which is -7. The answer is -7. On which day was the highest minimum temperature? Again, here we want to find the biggest number, which is 0. So degree C. What is the difference between maximum and minimum temperature on Thursday? Well, on Thursday we got maximum is 6, minimum is -5. So difference, if we're unsure, means subtract. So this is going to be 6 take -5, which is going to be 2 negatives, make a positive, so 6 plus 5, that's 11. The difference is 11 degrees Celsius. On Friday, we've got 9 and 4. So I'm going to do 9, take -4. 2 negatives again make a positive, so 9 plus 4, which is 13. So the difference in temperature is 13 degrees Celsius. So part D, on which day was the difference between minimum and maximum temperature the greatest? So I'm going to do this calculation for all the other days. I'm going to write up here for the ones I've worked out. That's 11 degrees. That's 13 degrees. And we'll work out the rest. Alright, bit of camera magic, and we've got the difference in temperature. Basically all I did was do top number, take away bottom number on my calculator, and got the answer. And I've just put it on the top so you can all see. So the question here, which day has what's the difference between maximum and minimum temperatures the greatest? Which is Wednesday, because that's 15 degrees difference. So answer here is Wednesday had the greatest difference. Between maximum and minimum temperature. Alright, question 15. During the State of Origin series, Queensland scored points in all 3 games. In the first game they scored X points, in the second game they scored 10 more points than the first, in the third game they scored 8 less points than the first game. Part A says write an algebraic expression for the total points scored in the 3 games. Alright, before we start putting this together here, I'm just going to write an expression for each game. So in the first game they scored X points, so I'm going to put X there. In the second game they scored 10 more points than the first game, so more means we're going to add on, so it's going to be 10 plus X, or X plus 10. And then in the third game they scored 8 less points than the first game, so that's going to be X take 8. Alright, now we've got all 3 of them. We're just going to put it into our expression. So in the 3 games, they scored x plus 10 plus x take 8. Part B, if Queensland scored 56 points in total, how many points did they score in the first game? So this time this time it tells you that our expression for game 1, 2 and 3 is going to equal 56 points. To work out what x is, we're going to collect like terms. So again, I'm going to put a box around my variables that are alike, which are my 3 positive x's. And then the 2 terms that are different will be my constants, so positive 10 and negative 8. So x plus, we're going to group those together, x plus x plus x, those are my x terms, plus 10 take 8, those are going to be my constants. All of that is equal to figure 56. X plus x plus x, well that's 3x, and then 10 take 8 is 2, again equals 56. Like I told both of my classes, when we solve linear expressions, we move what's furthest away from x on this side over first. And we want to think of the equal sign as a bridge. When you go over the bridge from the left hand side to the right hand side, you're on the opposite side. Likewise, if a positive number goes over the equal sign, it becomes a negative number. So here we're going to take positive 2 over first, because it's furthest away from x. 3x, that means will equal 56 take 2. Again, like I explained to my class, if we have a term constant variable expression on this side of the equation and we're bringing something, so this side of the equation, and we're bringing something over, it's going to be coming after it, because if you think of it as the touch-up line, if someone's already in the line, when you line up behind them. You don't line up in front of them, because that's rude. So 3x equals 54. Remember, between 3 and x there is a multiply, so this is the same as saying 3 times x equals 54. So to get x by itself, we're going to move the multiplied by 3 over. When we move multiplied by 3 over, we're left with x. Over the equal sign is 54. The opposite of multiply is divide, and the number I'm dividing by is 3, because that's the number we're taking over. So x equals 54 divided 3, which is 18. So if Queensland scored 56 points, how many points did they score in the first game? They scored 18 points. So Queensland scored 18 points in the first game. And that's the end of the revision sheet. Now, the best way to use this video, I would redo this revision sheet following this video, and then I would do this revision sheet by yourself under exam conditions, and then come back to the video and check your work against the video. If you made it this far, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, like and subscribe, guys, come on.